Okay, let's start with today's session. Today we would be discussing a concept called as capacity of a conductor, and subsequently we will think about what a condenser or a capacitor is basically. Let's try to understand this concept, okay, first, that is capacity of conductor. Whenever you try to charge a conductor basically, you'll see, you take a conductor, you put a charge on it basically, you will find that the potential also increases proportionately. So you keep on charging the conductor, its potential will also increase. So in a general way, I can say that there would be a limit for any conductor to hold a charge, because you keep on adding charge, the potential would increase, and if the charge leaks to the surrounding, then there is a chance that it may create a blast basically. So that means important thing is, you know, there is a capacity of every conductor to hold a charge, and beyond a certain level, conductor won't be able to hold that charge. Why? Because the excess charge is going to leak to the surroundings basically, right? So that's how we place a equation over here. The potential of the conductor will be proportional to the charge. That means if you increase charge, the potential goes on increasing. And moreover, more important, storing charges at higher potential is a risky case basically. So in a way, what we can say, there is a certain limit basically for a conductor to hold a charge, right? So when I remove this proportionality sign, I have to introduce a constant, and that constant is C, where C will be called as capacity of a conductor. So what is the capacity of a conductor? It's a capacity of a conductor to hold the charge safely at low potential, comparatively less potential. That is how you define capacity of a conductor. So you can see where C will be called as capacity of conductor, and for a given conductor, this capacity will always remain constant because it would depend on the material properties of that conductor basically. So this is how we introduce a concept called as capacity of a conductor. Please make a note of this. So here onwards, we would be using this equation Q is equal to CV to actually define certain terminologies so far as the capacity of a conductor is concerned. Here Q stands for the charge stored by the conductor, V stands for the potential increased because of the charge stored, and C stands for the capacity of a conductor. Okay, I believe you have noted this down, friends. So let's proceed further then. Let's define capacity then. If previous equation, if you remember, you can see this is the equation we talk about. Q is equal to CV. So from this, you can place C equal to Q divided by V. Alright, so this is what I was talking about. So here you can see C can be then placed as Q divided by V, and you can define capacity as the ratio of charge to the potential basically. You can see it's a ratio of charge held by the conductor to the potential of the conductor. Alright, now when can C be equal to Q? When V is 1 volt. So can I say numerically, if I want to define capacity basically, it will be equal to Q if V is equal to 1. So in statement, we can always place it as capacity is equal to the amount of charge required to raise the potential by 1 volt. So here from this equation itself, it's clear. Capacity of a conductor is equal to the charge required to raise the potential of the conductor by 1 volt. Please make a note of this, friends. Yeah, hopefully you have noted this down. So let's proceed further then. Let's define the properties or units of capacity now. The unit for capacity is farad, and obviously 1 farad would be equal to 1 coulomb divided by 1 volt. So when do we say the capacity of a conductor is 1 farad? So we define 1 farad for that. So capacity is said to be 1 farad if 1 coulomb of the charge is required to raise the potential of the conductor by 1 volt. This is how you define 1 farad. There are certain conversions of farad, so smaller units you can say. So 1 microfarad will be equal to 10 raised to minus 6 farad. Nanofarad would be 10 raised to minus 9 farad, and pico would be 10 raised to minus 12. Please make a note of this first. Just a minute. Yeah. Just give me. Yeah. Please make a note of this before we proceed further. So now we know what is the capacity of a conductor, but then at times this limitation of capacity becomes problematic whenever we design circuits. We need some instruments or we need some arrangements, basically to be more specific, to increase the capacity at low potential. So we want to increase the charge holding capacity of a conductor, but simultaneously we need to ensure that we are taking care of the potential. It's not increasing there, creating risk. So such arrangement we call it as capacitor or condenser. To increase the capacity, we move towards the concept of capacitor or conductor FET. So let's understand what capacitor or a conductor is. So here you can see, you can consider condenser or capacitor, they mean one and the same, okay? It's a device or an arrangement for storing large charge at low potential. So how does that happen? So we have to understand the principle of a condenser basically. So when we talk about principle of a condenser, let's understand what the arrangement is. So initially, let's take one conductor, say we name it as A in form of a metal plate. And let's say we provide it with say charge plus Q to this insulated conductor. And because of that charge, some potential would be generated along A, and that potential is say V, and in that situation we all know capacity will be given by Q divided by V. All right, so this is the arrangement I'm talking about. So this is one metal plate. This is something which we have discussed right now, point number 1, okay, previously. So here if I want to increase the capacity, obviously I'll have to put more charge, but then more charge will attract more potential also, and I have to reduce this potential. So I need to make some arrangement over here, where I can increase the charge, but consequently the potential will not increase. That arrangement successfully done would be called as a capacitor or condenser. Now how we go for that arrangement, I'll let you know. Before I go ahead with that particular thing, please make a note of this. So hopefully you have noted this down. Now we are more interested in that arrangement where we would increase the capacity of charge holding at lower potential. So very near to this plate A or conductor A, what we can do is we can place another plate parallel to it. You can see this was conductor A holding some charge shown by the red dots over here, and then what you do is you connect another parallel plate very near to it. You are not touching it, there is a gap between it, and there is a plate being connected, okay, very near to it with a gap. Say let this plate be B. Now what happens because of this plate, we will talk about it, how the capacity gets enhanced or increased and the potential is reduced or the risk is reduced. So this type of arrangement in a circuit will be called as capacitors basically. So we are moving towards understanding the principle, like how this arrangement will help us, in storage of high charge at low potential. Please make a note of this slide before I show you the next diagram, where we will talk about the situation, like what happens exactly, how the potential lowers, the charge storing capacity increases. Please make a note of this. Okay, just a minute. Just a minute. Yeah. So I'll show you another slide where we can discuss capacitor in greater details. Okay, just a minute. Here you can see. So what happens? You can see this was plate A, and a charge was given plus Q. But when you bring plate B near to it at some distance, obviously D, so there is some empty space which you can feel it with dielectric. Okay, yeah, you can see. So because of the electrostatic induction, friends, there is a charge minus Q being induced on another plate. Now because of Q, if the potential was plus V, because of minus Q, the potential will be minus V, whatever that small potential would. And therefore the resultant potential will become V minus small v, and therefore the resultant potential will decrease and the charge holding capacity will increase. So due to this arrangement, you can see this arrangement, which is also called as a capacitor or condenser, we are able to hold large charge or more charge at a very low potential. And then further what you do, see, because this minus q would be induced in the inner side of the plate, outer side again it would be plus q. Now if I want that plus q to vanish, why? Because that plus q on this side of, you can see with the arrow here, pointer is there, you can see. So because of plus q the potential is bound to increase, because of minus q the potential will comparatively reduce. So what I will do, I will connect the outer part of this plate B to earth, so that whatever plus Q charge is being induced extra, that goes to earth. So what remains in connect will be only minus Q, which is ultimately reducing the potential. And that's the principle on which a capacitor will work, where this arrangement in a way would store more charge at a very low potential, which is desired in electric circuits. Please make a note of this diagram before I show you the entire theory analysis for this. Hopefully you have noted down this diagram. So go back to the original slides basically, where we were discussing capacitors. So this arrangement, friends, you can see the same arrangement I'm talking over here. So here say red dots are positive charges, corresponding negative charges are being induced on the other plate, thereby decreasing the potential. So here the new potential in that case, because of this minus Q being induced on the inner side of B, would reduce the net potential, and obviously this reduces the original positive potential of A. So minus Q will reduce that potential, and therefore the new potential will be V1, which is obviously less than the original potential, which is V. That means if V is reduced, the capacity is increased. So in general, I will say C1 will be in fact greater. It shouldn't be less than C. It should be greater than. Make that correction. V1 is less than V. So correspondingly, C1 will be greater than C. Okay, make that correction over here. So that's the principle on which a capacitor works. Please make a note of this slide, friends. With the correction I said, here it should be C1 should be greater than C. And this entire explanation says the same thing which I explained you with the help of that diagram. So whenever in exam they ask you such questions, you should be in a position to explain the principle in this manner. Then the next slide, what we do is the outer part of B will be connected to the earth, so that further we can decrease this potential. Can see that explanation on the next slide. You can see here it's been clearly mentioned. Plate B, what we do is the free positive charge is neutralized by connecting it to earth. So what happens because of that? Then only uh, new potential will be then V2, which is further less. So again you increase the capacity by earthing, you can see. So C2 will be further greater than C1. So V2 is less than V1 and V1 is less than V. Correspondingly, you will find C2 is greater than C1 and C1 is greater than C. C was the original capacity with a single plate. Alright, and C2 is the final capacity with the earthing done. So this arrangement with the earthing, we will call it as a capacitor or a condenser. So in a way, what we do is we have increased the capacity of a conductor to hold the charge by reducing the potential subsequently. And this is the principle on which a condenser or a capacitor is going to work. Please make a note of this, friends. Okay, I believe the principle of the capacitor is clear to you. So the arrangement is quite clear to everybody. I believe that, and we proceed further then. Yes. Let's talk about the types of capacitors which we may come across, and the types would be classified depending upon the geometrical shapes and the dielectric media. Now, when I'm saying dielectric, the gap between the two plates, you fill up that gap with some media, right? So that will decide the type of the capacitor. So based on this classification, say geometrical shape, we have three types. One is the parallel plate capacitor, which I have shown you. Then a spherical capacitor. You can see this is the diagram, or this is the photo for a spherical capacitor. It's a huge capacitor, right? And the third one is a cylindrical capacitor. So you can have a look at the picture also, how a cylindrical capacitor would look like. All right, friends. So this is all dependent on the geometrical shape. Okay, so these are the three types, out of which our syllabus would be mostly dealing with parallel plate capacitor. So we would be studying parallel plate capacitor in greater details, friends. Then they are also classified based on the dielectric used between the two plates. So the first one can be paper capacitor. If the dielectric is paper between the two plates, we will consider that as paper capacitors. Then mica capacitor, if two plates, the gap between the two plates is filled with mica, then we will consider these capacitors as mica capacitors. Then ceramic capacitors are also available. This manner you can see. Right. So this is how the classification, the electrolyte type of capacitors. You can see these are electrolyte type of capacitors, where electrolytes are being used as a dielectric. So friends, please make a note of this classifications basically, out of which we are going to talk about the air as a dielectric mostly, and we would talk about the effect of dielectric also in the later stages. But majoritarily we are going to discuss parallel plate capacitor so far as your syllabus is concerned. Okay, please make a note of this. Hopefully you have noted this down. So let's proceed further then, friends. The next point of discussion would be, where do we use capacitors? Okay, important thing. So where we use capacitors. Basically, wherever we want to store charges and in a circuit, obviously we would use capacitors. Basically, to establish a desired electric field configuration for various purposes, they can confine strong electric field to a small volumes. They are basically used for storing energy. Then they are also used in conjunction with other devices also. Okay, where you can use them to reduce voltage fluctuations, to transmit pulsated signals or pulse signals, you can say, can create electromagnetic oscillations at radio frequencies using capacitors. Yeah, so electronic time delays you can provide it, and to eliminate spark in the circuit. Okay, so these are the uses of capacitors. Please make a note of that. Then, after discussing uses, we would see how these capacitors are connected in a circuit. Okay, I'll just show you. Just like resistors, these capacitors are connected, you know, in series and parallel. Just give me a moment where I will show you that slide. Okay. Give me a moment where I show you the slide. Just this was the diagram. So we are thinking about how we connect these capacitors in series and parallel. Okay, so here is the combination which I'm talking about. So in series combination, whenever you connect them like resistors, you connect them one after another as shown here in the diagram. All right, and this is how they are connected in parallel combination. So we will be establishing the resultant capacitances for series combination as well as parallel combination, friends. So let's move ahead then. Let's proceed further. What happens in series combination? Please concentrate on series combination here. Here you can see three capacitors C1, C2 and C3 are connected in series. Now in series you can see the charge will remain same because the current remains same in series, right? So charge will remain same, but the potential will get distributed as V1, V2 and V3 across the capacitors. So the resultant potential across A and B can then be equated to V equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. All right. But as per our discussion earlier, V would be given by Q by C because C was Q by V if you all remember. So V would be given by Q by C where Q stands for charge and C stands for the resultant capacitance. Obviously in series over here. Similarly, for V1, it will be Q by C1. For V2, it will be Q by C2. And for V3, it will be Q by C3. So, in the entire equation, if you observe, yes, yes.
Sir, can you please repeat the because your voice was getting interrupted for a second there.
Okay, I will repeat it, no problem. Is everybody comfortable? Am I audible to everybody? Just let me know first of all, or my voice is breaking.
Now you are, sir. It was breaking previously.
Yeah, see what happens at times, because of the signal issues, it may happen, but I will ensure that I repeat it for you people. No problem. Concentrate once again, okay? So I was talking about how the capacitors are connected in a circuit. Either they would be connected in series combination or they would be connected in parallel combination. So in series combination, we all know just like resistors, capacitors are connected one after another. So the total current through the capacitor will be same. That means the total charge will be same, but the potential will get distributed across the three. Whereas in case of parallel, you can see the total potential will remain same, but the charge will get distributed over here. So let's analyze the series combination first. Yeah, now in series combination, you can see they are connected one after another. The charges are remaining same. Let C1, C2, C3 be the capacitances of the corresponding capacitors. All right. The voltages or the potential across C1 is V1. The potential across C2 is V2, and the potential across C3 is V3. So this total potential V1, V2, and V3, if I add it, I will get the resultant potential V. Now, as per our discussion earlier, we know C is given by Q by V, if you remember. So if C is Q by V, I'm just putting V as Q by C. You can see V will be substituted as Q by C. Correspondingly, V1 will be substituted as Q by C1. Correspondingly, V2 would be substituted as Q by C2, and V3 would be substituted as Q by C3. All right. So if I substitute all this, then the equation gets converted in this format. Then Q can be cancelled from both the sides, and what you get is 1 upon C in series equal to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3. For n capacitances, you can just extend this equation dot 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 1 upon Cn. So if you observe this equation, whenever you connect capacitors in series, the resultant capacitance of the circuit decreases. All right, it's exactly opposite to resistances. The resistance will increase if you connect it in series, but when you connect capacitances in series, they will decrease the effective resistances basically. So please make a note of this. Okay, so whenever you want to decrease the capacitance, you connect it in series. Okay, that's the inference which we can draw out of it. Please make a note of it before we proceed towards the next type of combination. Hopefully you have noted this down, friends. Now let's talk about the parallel combination. Yeah. So in parallel, what's happening, you can see the potential is remaining same, but the charges get distributed. The charge gets distributed as Q1, Q2, Q3 across C1, C2, C3. All right. So in that case, by using law of conservation of charge, Q can be equated as Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. Now we all know from the basic C is equal to Q by V. So from this, can I put Q equal to C into V? Correspondingly, I can substitute Q1 equal to C1 into V, Q2 equal to C2 into V, and Q3 equal to C3 into V. So in this entire equation, Q will be substituted as CV, Q1 will be C1V, C2V, correspondingly C3V. So V is common both the sides. So cancel V from both the sides. What you get is C equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. So what is this equation telling you? The resultant capacitance increases when you connect it in parallel. So whenever you want to increase the capacitance of the circuit, connect them in parallel. Okay, so that's the inference which can be drawn from these type of combinations. So not necessarily the entire capacitors would be connected in series. At times it can be a combination. Some of them may be in series, some of them may be in parallel. Accordingly, you will have to analyze the circuit patch. Please make a note of it. Yeah, hopefully you have noted this down, friends. So the same thing is being discussed here. You can see when we talk about the capacitors, okay, the same thing is being discussed when you connect it in series. In just a minute, okay, just go ahead with the slides over here. This is the analysis which we will talk about later. Yeah, so the same thing we were talking about. Whenever you connect it in series, you can see the resultant uh, capacitance would decrease whenever you connect it in series, unlike resistor. So the formulas are exactly opposite to that of resistance connections. Okay. So whatever was the formula for the resistors for parallel, that formula is for uh, series in so far as the capacitors are concerned, and vice versa. So this is something which I wanted to show you and have a look at it. Just an explanation. So we have substituted the values of C1, C2, C3 correspondingly V1, V2, V3 in that equation, if you all remember. And then we established that equation V equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 and so on. So in general, when you get this equation, okay. So in general, you can see you get this equation as 1 upon C equal to 1 upon C1 plus C2, 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3. This is the equation which we have derived in a simple way previously, you can see. Hopefully you have noted this down, therefore I am running through these slides, okay, just for the sake of getting that statement. So here we can put 1 upon CS equal to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3, so on. So in general, for n number, you can just establish a formula. Please make a note of this slide so that we can just put a formula for n number of capacitors being connected in series. An important inference to be noted over here is whenever you want to decrease the capacitance, connect them in series. Yeah, are you able to hear me, friends? Yeah, just a minute, okay? Because of the connection, it happened here. Signals are on and off at times. That's why. Yeah. Hopefully the screen is visible to you now. Am I audible and the screen is visible for you people? Please let me know. Yeah. Okay. So people say yes. So that's what I was discussing. When you connect it in n numbers, basically, the formula then becomes 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3 and so on. So whenever you connect it in series, what happens is you will end up decreasing the capacitance of the circuit, whereas when you connect it in parallel,